Hi guys, my name is Gugulethu Nyatsumba. The gang knows me as Gugulethu, some know me as Sis GU. I am the proud owner of a channel called Uncomfortable Growth. Guys, welcome back to another episode of Deliberate. Today, I'm going to be speaking about my 2020 spiritual journey, because what a journey, what a child, what a child, what a journey, what a year, child, and I'm just happy to be here. If I had to use a word to describe my spiritual journey in 2020, I would use the word revival. Towards the end of 2019, I was not in a good place at all. I had started new medication. I was on antidepressants. Towards the end of the year. So I decided to defer my exams, hoping that I could take a break, regather myself, allow the medication to work, and then tackle the new year again. So I deferred my exams, and I wrote my deferred exams in January. And soon after writing my exams, first of all, that set of exams, it was so hard, and not even the context or the actual exam, but the preparation and being a student and being present just took so much out of me that I knew something was wrong at that point. Because I know school is hard and it's taxing and you may not always feel like doing it, but I knew that what I was feeling was not normal at all. So after writing my deferred exams, I was like, okay, clearly this is not working for me and I'm not in a good space. And I don't necessarily think that putting myself back in the environment that I'd been in for the past 4 years, UCT, was a good idea. Maybe I really needed to take myself out of that and allow myself to heal holistically, and then try again. Also, I had been seeing a therapist, and my therapist had actually advised that I take a leave of absence. But my biggest concern was finishing my degree, and taking a leave of absence to me at the time felt like I was failing, just because one, my degree was already taking me longer to obtain. So now taking a break from it, I just thought that I didn't necessarily deserve the extra time or the break, and my biggest priority was just getting that degree. And I was willing to do anything, even if it meant sacrificing my well-being, my mental health, it didn't matter. And soon after writing my deferred exams, I just realized that something isn't right. So I decided to take a leave of absence. I think it's important to mention that I was praying a lot in December and January, just because the end of 2019, like I had said, wasn't a good time for me. I was a little bit heartbroken. I obviously wasn't okay mentally and physically thinking about it. I remember one of my biggest prayers was that I just wanted him to give me an outlet. Like what it was that I was feeling, I wanted to pour it into something and pour it into myself, just because until that point I'd always felt as if I put other things and other people first and not myself. So yeah, I remember just praying and praying and praying, and I'd been wanting to start a YouTube channel for a while, and the name came to me, Uncomfortable Growth. Came to me in December, but I wasn't necessarily sure what it was that I was going to do with it. And in January, every January, I normally do the Daniel's fast. So Jan started, and I was preparing for my deferred exams, and I just kept hearing this name, Uncomfortable Growth, Uncomfortable Growth, and I didn't necessarily know what it meant or what he wanted me to do with it. Until like one day, I just kept praying, and then I just heard him say, like, start a YouTube channel. You have nothing to lose, you might as well try. And I didn't listen the first time around, like beginning of Jan, just because again my main focus was school. So after writing my deferred exams and realizing that like Atitsona, this is not working for me, I got to go, I got to breathe, I thought, you know what, let me try my YouTube channel. But again, I was hesitant to do so, just because I was very scared to put myself out there. Before my YouTube channel, I would like to think that I was like reserved to some extent, and I didn't necessarily have a voice. Yeah, I was very okay with living the life that I was living. I didn't want more for myself. I didn't see more for myself. I didn't know what I was capable of. So I took the leave of absence, and then I started praying again. Obviously, I just wasn't in a good space again. And I started praying, and then I heard God just press. And the more I wanted to ignore it, or the more I was ignoring it, the more I felt like he was pressing. Like it would be small things. Someone would speak to me about it, be like, oh, hey, what are your plans for this year? Or you said you were going to do this. Or a friend of mine was actually like, hey, I know a videographer. And at that point I was like, you know what? I feel like God is planting a seed, and the least I can do is try. I've never ever lost anything from trusting God. School is now out of the way. I need something to do. So it might as well be this. So I then set the date for my channel to open, or to start my channel on the 1st of February. And I did do that. And again, I was very hesitant, but it was therapeutic. I often say to people that the birth of my channel was the birth of my healing, and I didn't know how much I needed it. I think that over the past few years, I have been someone, I had silenced myself for many different reasons. There was a lack of self-love. I definitely just felt inadequate. I didn't necessarily feel that anything I had to say had much meaning. So when I hit 3,000 subscribers, that was the turning point for me. That's when I realized that, you know what, maybe you're good at this, Gugu, and maybe God wants you here. And maybe he took you out of school for you to be in the position in which you are right now. So when I hit 3,000, again, it was a milestone for me. I broke down. I was so emotional. I just felt God's presence. And I felt a shift in me. Like I felt confident in myself to some extent, and I felt like, you know what, Gugu, might as well give this all that you have because it's been going well and you have nothing to lose. So I did. And you know, just to skip, it's January now and I am at 35,000 subscribers, 900 and something. So I'm looking back at it now, I know that God took me out of the place in which I was, which was UCT, and made me realize that there was just more to life, and wanted to use that year to heal me, to grow me, and for me to just realize and see myself and my potential. I feel like 2020 was the year for revival for me, because I started to see myself and I started to see that God lives within me, and that I am stronger with him, and that he has a plan for me, and that I am his child. I'm beautifully, wonderfully, and fearfully made in his image, and that nothing that comes against me will prosper because he walks with me. More than anything, and it gets me a little bit emotional, but I never saw myself being where I am now. I didn't see myself outside of UCT. I didn't see myself doing anything great. I didn't see I actually got to the point in my life where for every birthday I hit, I wasn't sure that I'd see the other birthday or the next birthday, because I just wasn't sure of life and whether or not I wanted to be here. For God to take me out of that and put me in the position that I am now, and to use me, has been sensational. And just for him to help me put on some specs to see that I'm worth life, and that I am his child, and that at all times he has my back, and that he's the person I need to rely on the most, and he's the person I draw my strength from, has been sensational. God can resurrect anything. God can flip any situation around. All you have to do is give him your trust and actually allow for him to move in your life. So I think that the biggest lessons I learned how to let go and let God. I think that letting go is obviously easier said than done. I physically had to drop everything around me in order to focus on God. And sometimes that's what I do now. Even when I feel like I'm struggling to necessarily put all my faith in him or just trust him wholeheartedly, I literally will drop everything around me and just solely focus on my relationship with him, because wherever he is, there is light, and wherever he is, there is life. So I learned to let go and let God, and to trust God. And I learned the power of prayer. I pray with expectations. I pray about everything. My point of departure, no matter what the situation is to pray. I believe that God is my anchor. He's my source of light. There's none like him. So I start with him. So for me, I've just learned that instead of wanting to outsource certain things, or instead of wanting to solve my own problems, I have a father who is there for me, who's forever present. So just learning to pray about everything and growing my relationship with God has done a lot for me, and just letting go. Those were the things that got me through 2020. I also think that 2020 was a very heavy year, and the years before 2020 were also very heavy. So I realized that the things that I was holding on to, they were holding me back and slowing me down. As soon as I let them go, I felt so much lighter, and obviously there's peace in God, and just spending time in his presence helped me let go of that. Yeah. The verse that anchored me or got me through the majority of 2020, actually the verse, I feel like I have a verse every single year. So the verse that I discovered and that got me through 2020 is Proverbs 31 verses 25. It reads, "Strength and honor are her clothing. She will rejoice in time to come." I came across this verse in the beginning of the year as I was praying over the year, and obviously praying that I got through school and whatever it was. And I think the second line of the verse is what got me through the year the most. The part that says, "She shall rejoice in time to come," I held onto that for dear life. I knew that although I wasn't in a good place, there was going to be a time where I was in a good place. There was going to be a time where I was feeling better, and there was going to be a time where I was past the point in which I was in, because feelings aren't facts. And you know what, that was a moment, and I needed to go through what it is that I needed to go through, but I will come out on top, and I will come out victorious, and I will come out better. So that verse really, really did anchor me, and I know that I am clothed in honor and strength, and my strength comes from God, you know. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you can take something out of it. Like I said, I know that 2020 wasn't the cutest year, ciao, for all of us, but let us not lose hope. I think that it brings me so much peace to have faith in God, because I know that I can't have faith in the world. And when He is your anchor and your main focus, and your faith is purely in Him, you realize again that no matter what it is that may come, He is with you. And I've also just grown to realize that God doesn't put you in a position that He hasn't prepared you for or hasn't equipped you for. I hope I'm phrasing that correctly. God is always with us, and even in the darkest of days, I'm well aware that I'm walking the easier route, and that He is still with me, and that things could be worse, and that He'll show Himself, and He will be God at all times, at any time of the day, no matter what the situation is. So say a little prayer, speak to Him, try sit in His presence, try be positive. I also think that reading the word and listening to gospel and watching sermons is also something that definitely got me through 2020. Just constantly reassuring myself of who He is, and reaffirming His word in my life. You guys can find me on social media. Gugulethu Nyatsumba is both my handles for Gugulethu for Twitter, Gugulethu Nyatsumba for Instagram. And please make sure to check out my channel, Uncomfortable Growth, on YouTube. So yeah, guys, I'd like to thank you again for watching this video. Let us not lasa itember. Let us stay strong in the word. Let us be sure of God, okay? Because He's sure of us, and He's gotten us through all the darkest of times. And He will continue to be God, because He's glorious. He's beautiful. He's God. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much. Yeah, I use the word again, revival, because I now feel ready for life, just in that whatever may come, I feel ready. You know, I'm not necessarily hopeful towards the year 2021, but I believe in God. I say this all the time to people, like, I don't believe in many things. You know, I don't believe in the year being a good year. I don't believe in men, but I believe in God. You know, I believe that wherever God is, He will make a plan, no matter what the situation is, or whatever the environment I may exist in may be.